let me take just a few minutes here to run over a couple of the domestic political, things related to this, and then give you a last word on it, okay? So
Okay.
just so everybody knows, if there's, I'm not a foreign policy expert. I do pay attention to the polling. And right now I will say there's not as much support for continuing to support Ukraine. Okay. And that's not just among Republicans. There's like, I can't remember the exact number, but it's somewhere in the 50s, low 50s. People think that we've already done enough for Ukraine, and if the, then you the que- you know ha, are we not doing enough for Ukraine, is somewhere in like 45 plus 45, 48%, something like that. So there's a slight lean in the American public right now among all voters, right? That maybe we've done enough. Okay, I don't believe that. I wouldn't
Yeah,
argue for that. I
no, you're
totally
right.
agree
Yeah.
with what Markos is saying. We should just be throwing everything we have at that, because the sooner the sooner Ukraine wins that war, the sooner we win that war, right? So, and they are fighting. They're fighting for their sovereignty, but they are fighting They are fighting for the Western world, for democracy. Okay, I want to say one other thing. The reason to not slow walk that too, we're seeing it right now in the Senate Republican Conference with Mitch McConnell, who in the past couple of months has had two episodes where he's literally frozen for like 30 seconds at a time during a press conference. He is not well. He's frail, he's thin,
Mhm.
and he is actually a big proponent of, we need to be on Ukraine's side, we need to fund blah blah blah. Kevin McCarthy's job, as far as he's concerned, is just continuing to hold the gavel. He isn't working for the American people. He's not even working for Trump. He wakes up every day thinking, how can I continue to hold the gavel? I
Mhm.
think, if he didn't have to, if it was no skin off his nose, he would probably fund you, go ahead and fund Ukraine. But he's got this real right wing part of, extremist, not just a small faction, but an extremist faction of the Republican caucus in the House that doesn't want to fund Ukraine, that doesn't believe, they're taking the Trump position, and they're willing to shut down the government and all kinds of stuff, right?
Mhm.
So, um, the longer this war goes on, I wouldn't be surprised if, the numbers don't get that much better with the American public. And on top of that, then, the people who actually champion in the Republican Party, who actually seem invested in continuing to fund Ukraine, the McConnell wing of the party, is is losing steam. I mean, if he's like a symbolic representative of the fact that the McConnell wing of the party is is at the moment descending,
Yeah,
while
it's in
the
decline. Yeah.
decline. So, the sooner we finish what Putin started. Okay, Putin
Yeah.
started it. The sooner we finish what Putin started, we bring that to a close, the better for everyone. The better for the White House, the better for Biden politically, the better for Ukraine, the better for Democrats, the better for democracy. Otherwise, it's just a continuing uphill battle, because, if I mean, I've made my point. I
Yeah, it's
There's a whole
it's
lot of
even
domestic reasons to go
yeah.
hard at it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
No, and
last
Republicans are
word for
gonna,
you.
yeah, they're rallying around it. One of their excuses is that we need to focus on China, and yeah, it's going to be a lot easier to focus on China if there's no Russia threatening Europe. Like, you literally are having Ukraine decimate and destroy Russia's military might. That completely opens up the our ability to really focus strategically on bolstering democracy and our allies in Asia. So there is no real counter argument to Ukraine aid other than they are pissed off that Zelensky didn't play along, and so therefore they have their hate on, and they're going to pretend to be isolationists, but not when they're talking about China. Suddenly they're not isolationists anymore. Then they want to talk tough about China, and not really. They're the same. They're the same. They are right now. They are allied, and they will work together. And the best thing you can do to really deter China from making any move on Taiwan or any other neighbors is to show them the consequences of doing so. And that means being united. It means being single focused on victory, on defending those principles of national sovereignty and democracy and human rights. And when you do that, then it's a lot easier. Then Xi's calculations in China become a lot more difficult. Taiwan doesn't look that easy after all. And what happens to our economy if the whole West shuts us down, and so on and so forth. So the political situation is just going to get worse. It's really easy to agitate against foreign spending, foreign donations of any kind, right? I mean, this has always been demonized, even though the overall foreign budget, the foreign assistance budget, it's 10 billion out of trillions of dollars. It's nothing. It's easily demonized, and then this is a much bigger number than the $10 billion that we send to other nations. So the Republicans are gonna keep agitating towards it. Clearly, the MAGA crowd is on it. The memes are flying fast and furious, and there's a schedule. I don't think there's a military schedule. I think Ukraine's going to need to do what it needs to do, and it may take some time to liberate all of their territory. But there is a political schedule, which is why I think it's important for Biden to move faster to commit a large number of military aid, even if we can't deliver it overnight. Just commit it. Send Putin that message that that Donald Trump can't bail him out, and then do everything we can to, because the constant, and this is my last thought, the constant refrain from the West is, we'll support Ukraine as long as it takes, which is freaking stupid. Support Ukraine to win as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want an endless as quickly as possible, which means you got to open the coffers, send everything they can right now, train them. It ain't going to happen this year, but if we can actually prepare for a decisive summer 2024 campaign and let Joe Biden ride that into election night. Big victor, savior of Ukraine. It'd be freaking brilliant. So
it would be amazing. Yeah, it would be.
That would be the best case scenario, and that takes much more bold action than we're seeing from Biden. He started great.
The best Trump and all of them could do with that is, it wasn't Biden. Kamala Harris was pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Oh man, it would be fun to see them try to